Hey folks, Quill18 here, and I'm back after a few days of being away, so I'm coming at you with another Steam Summer Sale video. So right away, if you did miss it yesterday, because of course my helpful video wasn't around, this was really the day that would have been perfect for the channel. The deals are still available. We've got Civ 5, Europa Universalis 4, Banished, Left 4 Dead is fantastic, Rome 2 is pretty good. It's not, I mean, the Total War series I'm not as huge on, but you know, this is a perfectly fine game. And if you like the idea of driving a train Simulator is a pretty good way to do that. It's actually an exceptionally good game. It's just that the genre is not going to appeal to, like, you know, 95% of gamers out there. But a really good day for sales out there. I will point out a couple of things about DLC for Civ 5. If we go and take a look, the important ones, the ones that have actual content are, because most of these are little DLC that add little things here and there, although they are dirt cheap, so they can often be worth picking up. The two big ones here, Gods and Kings, is actually pretty optional, because all the gameplay mechanics from Gods and Kings were included in Brave New World. If you get Brave New World, you'll be playing the full and proper game. You'll just be missing out on a couple of different civilization options. And if that bothers you, well, you know, it's not going to be any cheaper than this probably, so 75% off ain't bad. But really, if you're looking to save some money, getting the base game plus just Brave New World is not a bad way of doing it. And of course, you could just pick up Civ 5 Complete Edition over here for $16.49 USD, which will give you all the crap. And really, that's probably the way you're going to want to go if you want to spend any time doing it. I will say that, like, with Brave New World, which of course would be included in Complete Edition, it better be. I double check. There it is. Brave New World. Yeah. Civ 5 with Brave New World is much better than just the base game. So I think that if you wanted to invest in it, you may want to just go and grab the Complete Edition. It's probably the way to go. Anyway, oh, and I also want to talk about DLC for Europa Universalis 4. So there's a handful of it here. Not all of it is on sale, unfortunately. And the way that things work in the Paradox world in general, or the Europa Universalis world, is most of the features for the game that get sort of introduced with the big expansion actually go into the main patches that come out for free. So the actual expansions that are in this list are Wealth of Nations and Conquest of Paradise. Wealth of Nations is relatively new. And I feel like Wealth of Nations is a very, very good expansion. Conquest of Paradise is, interestingly, I'd say a little bit more optional, in that it only unlocks a couple of minor gameplay features. Basically, the big one is like the ability to play as a colonial nation, which normally you don't do. So it's not necessarily a major important expansion pack to pick up. Wealth of Nations, which isn't actually being discounted, is actually quite a bit more important. Most of the other things are cosmetic things, like, you know, some extra ship graphics and so on and so forth. There are a couple that do add a few gameplay features. Why can I feel... Actually, just might be the Digital Extreme Edition. Is it in Stars and Crescent? Yeah, it allowed a few little things, a few little events and stuff like that. None of them are critical, although they're all certainly far from bad. Okay, so that's it for yesterday. Going up to today, we got a few things bookmarked here that I can talk to you about. First of all, Payday 2. This is a great 4-player co-op heist game. You are trying to rob banks and jewelry stores and so on and so forth. And if you've ever played something like... well, I was going to say Team Fortress, sort of. I mean, it's the same engine, but I meant to say Left 4 Dead. You know, you're going to get that sensation of it's 4 people trying to work together to accomplish something. You can accomplish a lot of these jobs via stealth, or you can go in guns blazing and have to deal with a shootout with the police. It is, I played it for the first time like a week ago because it came on a flash sale, and actually a friend of mine got the 4-pack, Briarstone got the 4-pack of it, and gave me a copy, and we were playing together, and it's just an absolute hoot. It's very chaotic, but yeah, and you really want to play this with friends. Certainly not single player with bots on your side, because you really will not get an appropriate experience there. You can go online and play with random people, but you might find that a bit daunting to start off with. If you can get a group of friends together to play it, and, you know, all get on voice chat, which is included in the game, that'll absolutely be the best possible experience. There have been a few free sort of DLC/expansions that have released some new heists, plus there's a few more that you can purchase. Most of these things you can purchase here are cosmetic packs. Or not, yeah, less cosmetic packs necessarily, is maybe like giving you a few different types of weapons to play with or something. They are optional, although they can be certainly quite cool, and at $1 a piece, they're certainly not too terribly bad. The big bank heist is the, as far as I know, Nope, this is a mission. So yeah, a few of these are heists, but this one just came out, which is why it's not discounted. It's quite cool because the trailer for the big bank heist, which you can see if you go to this page here, it's the very first trailer, the dentist trailer, will feature some familiar actors that you might know from other things. So anyway, Payday 2, excellent game. I really do think it's quite cool. Transistor's the only game on the list I'm going to talk about today, which I have not played myself. But I really want to. It is a beautiful indie game by the creators of Bastion. It is sort of a tactical beat-em-up turn-based thing. It's hard to describe. It's sci-fi themed action RPG. It is a beautiful game. It sounds great. It looks great. It's got an interesting story and a very different kind of main character. I think that this is a great game. It is unfortunate that it's only 25% off because it's still relatively new. But I think that this might be one of the big sellers, actually, just because a lot of people have been excited for this game, and it is a really wonderful game. So do take a look at the trailers and maybe any content on YouTube, and I think you'll fall in love with it quite quickly. So Age of Mythology Extended Edition. So the other day, actually, Age of Empire was on sale for a little while. So Age of Mythology is basically the same thing, same engine, more or less. It is a real-time strategy game, the sort of old-school classic, build up a base. Some of those buildings let you spawn units, then send your units to attack your enemy. It does have a campaign with a storyline, and this game focuses mostly on sort of like the Greek kind of mythology, right? Including the ability to summon up some monsters and heroes and things like that to help stomp your enemies with. You can play multiplayer, and there is the availability of buying a 4-pack. It's only 40% off, not 75% or anything crazy like that. So it's still a little bit, it's not like a throwaway money amount of stuff, but there should be a fair amount of replayability in here. Now, I have played the original Age of Mythology way back in the day. The Extended Edition, which is supposed to modernize things from modern computers, looks like it may not actually be that well received at a 66 Metacritic score. I don't know what's going on there. It looks like there have been some patches being pushed out. Maybe things sucked at release and have improved. I don't know. Do your own research. But assuming that, the game is stable, you're going to get a fair amount of replay value out of Age of Mythology, which is cool. And we come up with a Grand Theft Auto 4, the Complete Edition. At only $5.99, you too can have your cousin call you to go bowling all the time. The Grand Theft Auto series obviously are very good and include a lot of gameplay. Some people debate as to which one their favorite is at any given time. For me, it's Vice City, and it will always be Vice City, mostly just because of the music. I just adored the 80s setting, the 80s Miami kind of stuff. It was great. I wasn't as much of a fan of San Andreas, personally, just because, the setting didn't really appeal to me too much. This one was pretty good. And I haven't yet played GTA 5, so hopefully I'll get a chance to do that. But, at $5.99, like, just sick. Actually, you know what? I'd probably just go for the $10 pack if you don't have any of those, and get the full set. Obviously, some of these games will be quite dated at this point in terms of graphics and so on and so forth. GTA 4 here still does relatively okay, so, yeah, good game. Good, absolutely great game. Deus Ex, Human Revolution Director's Cut. That is not my birthday, don't get excited. So, Deus Ex, this is Human Revolution is the new Deus Ex, the one that came out a few years ago, right? Not the one that's from like 100,000 years ago. And, there was some back and forth about the quality of the game, because, I don't know, I know people were like, there are definitely some things, and yet otherwise, it still earned some pretty good reviews. It is actually a very good game. If you haven't gotten around to doing it yet, now's the time to do it. It is a first-person shooter RPG something with a lot of different ways to kind of level up. I think part of the reason is that the only reason you hear bad things about Deus Ex Human Revolution is because of how, just beautifully perfect the original Deus Ex was. I think if Deus Ex HR here was the first thing to have come out, you wouldn't have heard the same complaints. It is a legitimately very good game. I had a lot of fun playing through it, and I definitely recommend this one. To a lot of people, really. Next up, Tropico 4, Steam Special Edition. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Tropics, the Tropicos, and Tropico 4 is no exception. Obviously, a lot of people are playing Tropico 5 these days, but to be honest, I think Tropico 4 may have been a more enjoyable game. There, I have said it. I think I like Tropico 4 better. In particular, I really like the main campaign here. The Tropico 4 focuses specifically on like one timeline, right? You start off in that Cold War era, and everything's really focused around that. So you don't have this colonial era and the World Wars era and so on and so forth that you've got in Tropico 5. That leads to maybe a little bit of a lack of focus. Still, 5 is still a great game. So Tropico 4 is fantastic. It's available for like no money at all. It's probably worth going for the collector's pack. Yeah, there you go. It includes Modern Times, which is the only real sort of true expansion in all of this, and it's considered to be pretty damn good. These other little DLCs add like an extra building or something like that, you know, a few little things here and there, which actually can add some pretty good value and variety to the game. So if you're gonna buy it, I mean, I would splurge for the extra $3 and get the full collector's bundle to get all the extra stuff. Oh, Tropico 3, $1.50. Tropico 3 and 4 are basically the same engine, very similar games. I always say like, oh, well, Tropico 4 was Tropico 3 with a brand new single player campaign, and that's a good thing because we liked more content. Now in practice, 4 could be modded and had the DLC, and some of the DLC was a little bit expensive earlier on, but it does add some variety, and now it's super cheap. So Tropico Reloaded, is that like the original Tropico? Wow, that's going way back. And Tropico 3 is the original Tropico, but with, you know, better graphics. They had a formula and it really works. So I'm not going to say that you need to get these in any way whatsoever, but I would definitely recommend that. I don't think you'd go wrong with it. If you like city builders and, you know, funny stuff, it's a great one to do. It's got a lot of achievements as well too, so really encourages a lot of replayability even after you finish the main campaign, which is pretty lengthy. Next up, we've got Space Engineers, a game I have not played yet, but is definitely worth mentioning. It is, it's Minecraft in space! Alright, it's not entirely what it is, but it's, you know, sort of a survival buildery kind of game with, you know, some voxelage kind of stuff. You can sort of build sort of spaceshipy things and do things and whatever. I'm not going to go into it too much because I can't really speak to it from a first person's perspective, but I think this is going to be a very exciting, very enticing game. So I'm going to be looking into this one really soon. So anyway, that brings us to the end of today's Steam sale, and hopefully we'll have a few more of these videos before the end of the sale. I'm sorry about your wallet. Bye-bye.